So we are on our second week of responsive design. We've talked about Flexbox prior to this. We talked about Grid View last week, and this week we are talking about CSS Grid. And so your readings are all focusing on CSS Grid because it's a little bit more complicated. And the lecture demo is only on CSS Grid because there is a lot of different ways you can implement this. Okay, so all of the information in here is on using CSS Grid, the different ways that it is implemented. Okay, and you'll notice you've got interactive sites where you can, try things out and practice. And I would encourage you to do that because that is how you learn how to use these different frameworks. Once you get done with that, then you'll come down here to the textbook assignment, and you are going to convert a website into a responsive grid using CSS Grid. And the site you're going to download is a Dr. Seuss site. And I did do some examples of what it looks like, but these are screenshots. Okay, so, but on your phone, it would look something like that. You can see on a tablet, it would look like this. And then on the desktop, you should get the full view of the site whenever it decides to display. And you can see how it changes, from one device to another. So everything has been completed in this except for the responsive layout. And that is what you are going to be adding. Okay, and the directions kind of walk you through how to add the layout to the CSS and then how to add it to your HTML. Okay, so that is the first exercise. Then at this point, we've learned 3 different responsive layouts. So we are going to take a look at all 3, kind of a little review. So there is a responsive page review here. When you unzip it, you are going to see a little structure like this. And so what you are going to be doing is you'll be opening each one of these. The CSS is at the top, and you're going to be adding the CSS for Flexbox to the Flexbox page. You'll be doing the CSS for Grid View to the Grid View page, and then the new CSS Grid that you just learned, you'll be adding to that page. Okay, and these directions walk you through how to add the changes to the Flexbox page. Okay, and the video shows you how to do that. And then this walks you through adding those changes for Grid View. So you're going to open up the Grid View page and make the Grid View changes. And then finally, you're going to do the CSS Grid changes. Okay, and once you're done, you are going to submit all of the pages. Then the lab assignment. So this is similar to last week, but now you're using CSS Grid. So if you want to take the same content and change, the CSS and some of your HTML so that you're using CSS Grid, you can. And if you look, this is my same example, but now I am using CSS Grid instead of Grid View. Okay, and just like last week, you can use this as the basis for your term project, either this one or the one from last week. Okay, if you want to do something completely different, that's okay too. But, if you take your time and you do a good job on this, it will definitely save you time on the term project. Okay, and all of the requirements for the HTML, the print CSS, and the screen CSS are listed. Okay. And then I also did a a little link here to the Seuss print, just so you could take a look to see, what that looked like. And then last step here is adding all of these links to the assignment page. And remember, that is worth points. Some people have been forgetting to do that. So make sure you do that. And that is pretty much what you're going to be working on this week. Once you are done with the responsive layout, you're going to come in to the discussion forum, and you are either going to share your CSS grid or your grid view page, whichever layout you like better. You will add a link to the discussion, and then you will say who the audience is, what the purpose is, and how you decided on the design and layout. Why did you group elements the way you did? Why did you select the color scheme? All of that fun stuff. And then you will review each other's posts and reply to the one that you liked, and indicate, what you liked about their page. So the same kind of sharing that we did in the form, okay? Because it is fun to see other people's work. Then, if you have any remaining time, at this point, you know almost everything you need for the term project. So this gives you an overview of the project. I also have a video in here that kind of walks you through what you need to do. But if you look through the requirements, you will notice that most of the requirements were in the Lesson 11 Part 1 or Part 2 assignment. Okay, so if you decide to use one of those as a basis for your project, then you are well on your way to being done. There's just a couple additional requirements that you're going to have to add in. Okay? And some people prefer a checklist. So this is actually the checklist that I use when I grade. So these are the specific things that I am looking for. Okay, and some of these, the only ones you do not know how to do yet would be the JavaScript. Okay, everything else you know how to do. So you're going to have to wait until after lesson 12 to add in the JavaScript. Everything else, if you wanted to get a head start on this, everything else is already in the lessons that we've covered. So if you have any questions or if you run into problems, please let me know, and have an awesome week. I am looking forward to seeing all of your pages.